Welcome to Wake and Jake. Happy July 7th as we talk about the wide world of sports. It's baseball season, people. We're in the teeth of it. You'll get people reporting to football camps in August, and you could gossip about that and get your fantasy drafts on. I do it every year. Maybe I'll post a vlog. Probably won't. NBA is still getting their transactions in. Summer League, have you watched? I haven't. It's baseball season. They own 4th of July weekend. It was a crazy weekend. I can do a quick bop around, and then I want to get into a Jayson Stark, short king of baseball. Had a good article with The Athletic that was titled, I just clicked off of it. That's crazy. Oh, the 10, what we've learned in the first half of the MLB season. 10 midsummer takeaways. So we'll check in with Uncle Jayson. Quick around the league bop before we get into that. Mariners swept and shut out the Pirates all weekend. Just insane. Pirates did not score a run in 3 baseball games after they just won 6 straight. Some fun baseball stuff there. Yankees are a disaster. The defense has gone back to the comical defense that helped lose them a World Series and made them a laughingstock. Where they are in the standings right now is a little shocking. And everything just feels so thin with them right now. Their pitching path to victory is thin. They just lost Clark Schmidt to this year and next year with Tommy John. Things got a little dark as the Mets may be out of their darkness a little bit, and they're supposed to get some reinforcements. Manaea and Kodai Senga eyeing to come back pretty soon for them. Other bops, Cleveland Guardians 10-game losing streak. Did you know? Jose Ramirez has been very bad in that time. Correlation? I could see that. Guard Dogs down bad. They don't really have trade pieces, but a team and a franchise that has just kind of been respected as these guys are good and they know what they're doing more than you. Currently not there anymore. The Houston Astros are really good. Houston Astros are really, really good. They have the second best record in the American League. They swept the Dodgers this weekend and in dominant fashion. Altuve with a massive weekend. Christian Walker. If I was more into clicky, cheeky things, the Astros were in first place with pitching, Pena, and Paredes. That was kind of it. The 3 Ps. Christian Walker. Jake Myers, who we highlighted last episode, and I'm happy we did. But Yiner had a big weekend. They've been waiting for Walker. They don't have Jordan yet. Houston is so here. And they are very good. And they can pitch the ball a ton. And they've been in the big games. And they might have the baddest man on the back end. Houston is full-blown here. Hader has not blown a save. He even did a 1.1 innings, which that used to be a big bugaboo during his Padres non-contract times. Houston, full-blown here. American League wildcard still a disaster. Red Sox get a nice sweep. Lucas Giolito pitching really well. Did you know? 5 straight wins. 33 innings to the tune of a 32.2 innings, a 0.83 ERA. The big man is back, and that can potentially change Boston's outlook as the wild card is still wide open in the American League. What other bops do I need? Orioles playing a better brand of baseball, but it's probably too little too late. We'll talk about that a little bit in Uncle Jason's article. Brandon Woodruff came back, and you should know that if you look up best ERA since 2020, he shows up pretty quickly. That for a Milwaukee team that has been really good and gotten the ship on the right path this year, they just got potentially a dude back. 6 innings, 1 earned run in his return. Yeah, 0 walks, 8 Ks. That felt impactful. The other thing that's just of note, the Chicago Cubs are insane. You know about PCA. He had a 4-for-4 2-homer game over the weekend. You should know about Kyle Tucker. I think you even know Seiya Suzuki is leading the NL in RBI. And by the way, just go look at his last 3 years. Seiya Suzuki just hits. I've done this full timeline before. There was weird parts of each of his last 2 seasons where, like, the Cubs weren't winning and he was slumping, that he found himself, like, out of the lineup. The last 3 years, Seiya Suzuki, a 130 OPS plus, a 138 OPS plus. This year he's a 148. Clearing his homers, homer, like he's never done before. 77 RBI is a career high for him. So he is clearly playing at another level, but so are the Cubs as a whole. But Seiya Suzuki, underrated. They're making the push for him to make the All-Star game. Here's what you kind of knew from Wake and Jake, and I did the all-underrated team last episode. Michael Busch, highest OPS of all first basemen. He passed Pete Alonso. How much have you heard about Pete this year? He passed Freddie. He's passed Jonathan Aranda. Whoever has played first base, nobody has a higher OPS than Michael Busch. He is currently not an all-star, and he's Cubs player number 6 you start talking about when you talk about that team. That the Cubs put up 211 spots this weekend. They are really good. It's going to be very fun to see how involved they get at this trade deadline. That was just a little bop around the park. Let's get into Uncle Jayson's article, because he had, like I mentioned, the 10 midsummer takeaways that I botched on the intro like 3 times. That was tough, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry about it. But I thank you guys. You guys are the best. Make sure you're subscribed and all that jazz. I'll be honest with you. I was excited. I feel like I don't get enough Jayson Stark. Whenever I see him, I'm like, yeah, he's kind of the mysterious short king of baseball. What's Jayson up to? Why's he got that Y in his first name? The All-Star break is coming up. 7 days, 7 or 6 games probably for your favorite team. Heading down there Friday. Watch out, Atlanta. Poppy's ready. And there is a funky thing that I want everyone to be careful about with the All-Star break, is that because we started the season earlier, we are getting more games. That you're seeing some pre-All-Star break things being broken that are skewed just a little bit. Like I think was it the Detroit Tigers? What team is winning a ton of games? The Toronto Blue Jays. They should have been in the BOP. I'm sorry, Blue Jays fans. 8 straight wins. Ernie Clement is hitting 400 since like the start of May. Addison Barger is breaking out before our eyes. They've got different guys winning and contributing. Bo Bichette turned on a ball that had the confidence of the 2020 Blue Jays that we haven't seen in a long time. The Blue Jays are good. They're getting a ton of contributions from different guys in different aspects as they've taken control of the American League East on July 7th. Didn't think we'd say that. Oh, I think they are 1 win away from their most wins before the All-Star break. So, again, that's just a little deceptive because I think we got a couple more games in there. Cal Raleigh passed Ken Griffey for most homers before the All-Star break by a Mariner. It's no shots fired. I'd have to double-check the games on that. But just a gentle reminder, some before the All-Star break game records. Slightly tricky. No shots fired at any of those guys. All right, let's get into what Uncle Jayson was talking about. And I'll be honest, wasn't, actually, I want to give him credit for the intro. He starts, just the classic, didn't Shohei Ohtani make that home run trot in Tokyo like 20 minutes ago? Classic. Life moves fast, people. That's why, that turns out that's the whole trick. If you're a young gun that listens to this show, hey, Wake and Jake, no weed till you're a little older. Anyways, that's another life lesson. But it turns out when you see old people doing nothing, they're just trying to slow down life. That's the whole thing. That's why they like sitting by pools and doing nothing. That's why they don't do an activity. That's why they like to sit. So Jayson Stark hits us with that zinger to start. And the number one thing he starts with that got me excited was the word for the trade deadline: complicated. Shout out to Avril Lavigne. Trade deadline, did you know? 24 days away. How quickly does 3 weeks pass? That's going to be here very soon. The Yankee trade machine is cranking in the office every day. And as you know, we've dabbled around the potential mystery teams, who's going to be in, who's going to be out. Baseball Reference's playoff odds have about 25 teams within quote-unquote striking distance of a playoff spot. And the problem is the teams that are out, Rockies, Nats, Pirates, Athletics, White Sox, don't have necessarily the game changer. Although here I am looking at Michael Soroka as a potential bullpen option for the Yanks. Deadline's coming, people. Get ready. None of the quotes are too exciting for me. As you guys know at this point, the Diamondbacks, with another unimpressive weekend, they lost to the Royals, who have been sputtering for a long time. They should have the gift bag that has the most gifts to give, and it's Naylor, it's Suarez, it's Gallen, it's Kelly, that had an American League exec saying Josh Naylor could be the best bat traded this month. Why did they say this month? Because Rafael Devers was traded. Do you remember? I do. He's in San Francisco. Hasn't been killing it. They've just won a couple series, though. They might be back.
I was surprised. I forget if it was in this article or in another, but just their record since the trade, I was like, oh, it's not good. It sounds like they're getting back on track. But
yeah, no, Devers' numbers weren't great. Their numbers as a team weren't great. Red Sox have been so bipolar. I think they're exactly 500 since the Devers trade. They've had a 6-game losing streak, and now they're on a winning streak. That's just that. The Minnesota Twins should have themselves a deadline. Ton of corner outfield and ton of bullpen. Feels like a recipe there. As they have been awful. 9-17 in June. And you know what? The Guardian said, hold my beer. I don't like where we've gotten with the hold my beer. Hold my beer was cool for a little bit. And now it's kind of been ruined. The Guardians went 9-22 in the start of June. Yeah, again, where the AL gets slippery is like they're saying the Guardians aren't that far out of the wild card because they're 7 games back. They are. I will say, I haven't even... Well, actually, this was a Yankees daydream, and now it's not at all. But, like, could Stephen Kwan be on the table? That guy would get a haul. God, the Yankees needed Stephen Kwan for so long. Sorry, there's a little... My Yankees are showing. It was a tough weekend. It was a tough 6 games. If your team has lost 6 games this year, comment below. And how did you feel in that time period? Because I bet it wasn't great. God, Stephen Kwan on another team. He's so good. Anyways, Red Sox I don't think are trade... Well, let me catch myself because they traded away Rafael Devers this year. But we have kind of ignored that it was drama-filled. We haven't ignored it. But, like, I guess going back to the Jarren Duran situation, because there's been a lot of Jarren Duran chatter around this office because we have a conglomerate of Padre fans that they think he's the perfect fit for their team. The Red Sox are very much in the mix of this season. And I think especially with that Devers trade, they want to show that it was like better for the organization. They tried to do the Boston/Patriots like team first. Yeah. Winners of 3 straight. They are 2.5 games out of the wild card. And I think if we're being really real in the American League, it's the current playoff picture. It's the Tigers. Fruit to nuts, farm to table, start to finish, they've been great. Good job, Tigers. Houston Astros started a little slow. They've been killing it. Best record since June. Toronto. I'm going to give my Blue Jays more love because, A, Toronto fans on the internet can be brutal sometimes. Maybe our roughest patch. Like, this is obviously, we'd never do this because people would think, A, we're doing it for clicks or just to be obnoxious. Toronto fans, man, they find another gear that I don't want to take away from them leading the East and being 52-38 in this pivot year for their franchise where this was supposed to be the trade deadline of Vlad Guerrero. Instead, they locked him up, half a billy. And now they're in first place, 8 in a row, 9-1 in their last 10. Tons of different people contributing. I'm glad I put George Springer on that all underrated team of this season. And you could put Ernie Clement should be on there. Alejandro Kirk, they were fighting for him. I understand why. They're getting contributions from all over that team. But, like, if we're being honest, before the 8-game win streak, were you going nuts about Toronto? No. But 8-game win streak, pretty damn impactful. Yankees, Rays have been good for a little while now. Mariners, after the back-to-back 1-0 shutouts, they're in the dance. Those teams have been good the majority of the season. That makes sense, right? After that, it's the Boston Red Sox. Now 1 game above 500. They have been volatile and never consistently, like 2 weeks of bang-up ball. I don't think they have that. They've had 1 week. They've crushed so many 1 weeks. I don't know if they've gotten 2. My Texas Rangers continue to tantalize me. They have a plus run differential. They're 44-46, but that is a half game better than the Angels. That is a game better than the Twins, a game and a half better than the Royals, who all of those teams have felt not good. And so has Texas, but the talent continues to tell me something different. I think in the American League, you could draw the line right now with the Texas Rangers, and I think that's going to be what we've got the rest of the way. National League has a little more wiggle. But does it really? Padres and Giants right now tied for the last spot. Brewers in the dance. Cardinals lurking. Reds lurking. Diamondbacks. Marlins passed the Braves again, did you know? Braves, another L4. They're toast. It's over. It's over. And I feel like not enough people are talking about that. Anyways, back to Uncle Jayson. I don't think the Red Sox, hey, if there's the right trade for Duran, they'll do it. But I think they'd still want help on the big team this year. And like, would San Diego trade from their bullpen depth? I don't think so. It's part of what makes them potentially special. Aroldis Chapman would be a name that would pull a ton. If Boston did that, it would be maybe the right move, but maybe at the awful time. Like, if they were to trade Chapman and get a real piece, like, reminder, the Kansas City Royals got Cole Reagans, who's, become one of the best young left-handed pitchers in baseball. If the Red Sox were to trade away Chapman and they went on a 5-game losing streak, the city could burn. Breslow would not be safe. I think they're going to stay in it. I would not be surprised if they added. Look at the way Lucas Giolito's pitching. Number 2, and this is a little, 10 midsummer takeaways. Number 2, he has Buster Posey as being fearless. Like, okay. I don't know. Made the Devers trade. I think there's a lot of teams that would have been kind of interested in the Devers trade if their owner signed off on it. I'll bring that in. Fearless feels a little dramatic. But I don't know. I guess what's of note is the Buster Posey Giants have felt different. Although after the Devers trade, it hasn't been that different. Number 3, the Red Sox need to figure out what they're all about. I agree. Uh, I agree, and I don't know. I think we're getting a little too distracted by what Devers was again, because I understand the frustration, and I still hate it, and I hate it for baseball that Rafael Devers was traded, because that's someone, a potential statue guy. I know Boston could kick back on that. Let's see what Rafi's next year's look like. When's Breggy coming back? I know Yoshida is on his way back, so that's another piece for them that we haven't talked about in a long time. I think the Red Sox are in. Like, I think we need to stop pretending they're not. Yes, they made the Devers trade, but that was organizational dysfunction. Through and through. Like, what have the Red Sox done? Like, they traded for Garrett Crochet, and they extended him. They have Alex Bregman under that weird contract that they might have him, they might not. Got to figure that out. But that was real money. $40 million? Like, they paid Lucas Giolito hoping to get more last year. But, like, they're in. Walker Buehler, Bayo's been extended. Rafaela's been extended. Like, the Sox are in. And I know they can be super confusing. I think their fans admit they can be super confusing. But to pretend they would be a quote-unquote true seller at the deadline, I think that's just off. I admit they're lacking some identity, and that is what Uncle Jayson is saying. But they're going to be heavily involved in this, and I don't think you can rule them out from anything, which in a way, I think that's a good thing. Some Yogi Berra shit there. Number 4. Well, Jason Stark says the only great team in baseball is... I'll counter it by saying maybe it's Out West. Because this episode is brought to you by Out West. Out West is the brand we can't stop wearing. If you saw my brief TV appearance, I was wearing Out West. Started by a couple guys from South Dakota. So you know how they had the time to think about this. Make clothes you'll reach for 99% of the time. I like that. Pretty much every day. You don't have to think with their hoodies, polos, and Q-sips. High quality fabric. Soft. Oh, so soft. Pieces built to last, and they just feel right. Hey, this is all stuff you wear. Whether it's a hoodie, polo, Q-zip. You get a free hat if you order with them. Purchase from Out West. All you got to do is add a hat to your cart. Use code JOHNBOY at checkout, and you get a free hat. Code JOHNBOY at checkout for the free hat at Out West. Every game needs an outlaw. Go check out Out West. Some nice tones. That's what I like. A nice tone. Very soft green I have. The only great team in baseball is the healthy Dodgers, in quotes, which, if you know, that hasn't existed. And that's kind of what the article goes on to talk about. It says the Dodgers have 25% World Series odds by Fangraphs, which 23%, which that is like crazy high. And I think, like, yeah, if you go around in a normal year at this time of year.
Yeah, that basically at any point in the regular season for any team to be even much more than 10.
Right. You get a couple of the big ones are at like 12. That Fangraphs seeing the Dodgers as 23% odds to win the World Series should be a reminder of the immense talent they do have. And what kind of players are they going to be at the deadline? Are we all going to roll our eyes because they just continue to add because they can? Fascinated to see. And they're going to build up and get healthier for the postseason. Shohei just threw 2 innings. Second one was clean, struck out the side. So it's a reminder that the Dodgers are there. It feels a little bit of Houston where have the Dodgers played their best brand of baseball? They just got swept by Houston. But they have the best record in the National League. Still. Mookie hasn't fully clicked this year. They've had a couple oddities that it hasn't felt like it's all come together. They are building towards the postseason. I think it would still be fair to call them the potential super team or scary team come the postseason. It will be interesting to see what is around come that time. I do want to jump to 6 quick because I'm skipping 5, but it feels like they should be attached because number 6, he says the Tigers are real and they're spectacular, which it was just like, weren't we just talking about this? But you do have to understand the different economy of scales between the Tigers and the Dodgers as of now. Detroit has been great. Leadoff. Right now, the top 3 in their lineup, listed as verse righty pitcher, is Colt Keith, Gleyber Torres, Wenceel Perez. Now, hey, a lot of those guys are contributing, but very different than what we're talking about with the Dodgers. Zach McKinstry, I mean, put him in a bag. Maybe we'll do like just an all-util team at the end of the year because what he is doing, he won them again with a game with base running over the weekend, contributing with the bat, playing every different position. What's the word? Embellishing? No.
Embellishing?
No. What's it when you like represent Tigers baseball? I'm blanking on it. Like not representing, like not embracing. He omits. There's a word. There's
emblems the base.
Emblems. He represents Tigers baseball. Golly. Comment
exemplifies?
Below. I think so. He exemplifies. Yes. It was an E word. He exemplifies Tigers baseball. That was tough.
Tough for everybody.
Very interesting because we do pre-record this that we could edit that out. I think people like it. Let us know if you want us to get rid of that. We can pretty easily.
It'd be an easy enough one for me to write down what time it happened.
And just say, boom, boom. We're going to leave it for the people. That's how you know we're real. Matt Vierling is back for them. Hot. The difference is Tarek Skubal is on. I'm looking for the right comparison. Is it DeGrom? Like for how dominant he is right now, every day taking the pill, it feels DeGrom-esque, except obviously lefty. Little analytics from me. They have him. Casey Mize continues his breakout season. Their bullpen is strong. I think they can add there. And then lineup-wise, they can. It's just a very interesting chemistry conversation. But in the article, A.J. Hinch getting some love for being a good manager. Does it exist? I think so. They are starting to stumble into, will they play any games that matter leading into the playoffs? Because their division lead in the Central is 13.5. 13.5 over the Minnesota Twins as we record this today. So they might be able to put it in cruise control, which some people like, some people dislike. Let me jump back to number 5. If you remember, I skipped that. And it was because I did want to emphasize it while I felt the Dodgers-Tigers conversation was linked. Uncle Jayson's words, not mine. The Orioles are the most disappointing team of modern times. Hello. Modern times, when you're talking baseball, gets a little tricky. For some people, that means since 2020. Some people think that's since 2000. Some people think that's since segregation. Some people... Integration's the other word that gets thrown around.
Wild card era.
The Orioles, who had a nice June, did you know? I want to say 16-11, something like that. Feels like too little too late. They are a team that hurt me. As you guys know, right before the season, I decided to buy in on Baltimore. It hasn't been there. They have had a ton of injuries. I think they're on their 6th catcher, which when you actually think about that, it's kind of crazy.
4 catchers on the IL right now.
Like when you're at your team spring training, list the 6th catcher out. Jacob Stallings is in town.
And they literally traded the Yankees something for Alex Jackson.
Right, who just been floating around in their AAA.
Just extra body.
A lot of teams are very interested into seeing what the Orioles do at this deadline. You'd like to think they cash in the Ryan O'Hearn ticket no matter what. Ramon Laureano and how good he's been playing, we listed him on our underrated team. Tyler O'Neill just came back for them. And the sick part of it is Trevor Rogers, who they traded for and was one of their chips on the table transactions, give us this young, talented lefty pitcher. He has come back and he's been very good for them. And Charlie Morton is pitching better. That the Orioles would have to get very hot. You probably have to finish 5-1 going into the All-Star break. And then you might need a similar thing coming out of it to end up near 500 to not sell going into the trade deadline. I think it's just a soft sell. I think they can sell and still have a good baseball team. We've talked about Cedric Mullins a lot. And even if this year isn't the year, which, my God, has it felt like it? They've been one of the worst teams in baseball. You could still run a decent team out there. And if you really find some juice this season, I don't think you'll feel too hurt by the trades. If you don't get the juice at all, trade it all and let's do it. Let's do it next year because they have been hit. What if I told you, and I've done this exercise before, but I'll do it again right now. What if I told you this was the Orioles rotation? Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, Zach Eflin, Tyler Wells, and Cade Povich. If I saw that before the season, I'd be like, Orioles might have a sneaky good rotation this year. They're all on the IL. So the Orioles have been, every team gets bit by the injury bug in different ways. They have been hit by it hard, plus some regression. I think they'll end up clearing house, and I think they can feel good about it. While they probably are one of those teams we look back at and we're like, did you know, from June of last year, the Orioles actually had a winning record? I could see us talking about that. Just Uncle Jayson, the most disappointing team of modern times. That feels a little dramatic.
Sheesh.
That feels it's a little too juicy for me. And they're actually playing better. Number 7, the Rays are pulling off their greatest magic trick yet. I like when anyone else says the phrase Rays doing Rays. That makes me feel better. Stark says that in here. They're doing their summer road trip essentially when their summer home trip is playing at the Yankees spring training facility. AL exec, and I'll take credit for this too because this is what I've been saying. Their pitching is really good. And that's what's allowed them to take off because their hitting went nuts for a month. They had one of the best lineups in June. Brandon Lau got real hot there. Yandy is going for them. Going to be interesting to see where they are at by the end-ish of summer when they start playing a more regular schedule again and getting more Tampa home games. Are we going to get playoff games in a spring training facility?
My understanding is they will not be doing that.
Where would they play?
I've been reading around in different articles and stuff, and people expect it to be, depending on who else is in the playoffs, one of Miami, if the other two places I'm about to mention are in the playoffs somehow, Atlanta, and Texas with the Dome.
Tampa Bay Rays, home playoff games in Miami, Atlanta, or Texas. It makes sense and it doesn't at all. God, that would kill me. That would kill me. If I was a Rays fan, I want to go to my team's home playoff game.
If I was a Tampa area Rays fan,
God.
they're in a much more convenient area to get to this year, so I've been able to go to more games and really support finally. The playoff games are going to be hours away.
Also, I hate to be half dumb. I see music festivals and concerts all the time where we're just creating these giant stages and everything. Could we not just like hyperboost Tampa? Could we not get a couple extra sets of bleachers in the outfield or something? That shouldn't feel insane.
They can't find some way to baseballify the Bucks Stadium.
Now that would be sick, but there's no way that's happening because it'll be during football season.
It's a whole thing.
Okay, so that's a story to watch.
Yeah, they had like 10 months to think about it.
And they haven't. I like this because this is something that I like to do every year. But it gets caught up during the season. And baseball's so scary because 2 months can ruin everything. Which free agents have helped themselves? Alex Bregman making $40 million a year. But he went nuts while he was playing. So if he can opt out, he probably will. Because if his numbers land there, no one's going to feel bad about it. And his agent, Scott Boras. So they tend to have a go button there.
Have you read the quote from the AL exec thinking about Scott Boras? Not that this is a Scott Boras quote, but it would make you laugh.
I've been laughing?
Yeah, it starts with I've been laughing.
I've been laughing about this for 2 weeks, just thinking about Scott Boras' reaction to the Devers trade with Bregman, because he's sitting there thinking, just give me a blank check because whatever I want, you guys are going to have to pay me. That's a nice exec thinking about what Scott Boras thinks about. That's wild. More love for our guy Glaber. Glaber just got discussed in our office as the Yankees are watching another young shortstop struggle. And hey, that's things in baseball that don't matter that do matter. When Uncle Jayson says sometimes the smartest thing a player can do is market himself outside of New York, Glaber's doing it right now. He's been consistent with his bat. Every Tigers game I've watched, it looks like he's trying to drive the ball the other way, which Yankee fans for years said that's when Glaber's at his best. And God, there was that short porch thing that could help him out. And when I've talked to Tigers fans about his defense, felt like it hasn't hurt him. And in hindsight, I don't know how much of Glaber's thought process was here, but like the Tigers were an upstart team. They've been a great team this year. He is one of the more bona fide locked-in players in their lineup that this has been a win-win move for him, where we did hear him. Did the Nationals ask if he could play third base?
I believe he had monetarily a pretty similar offer from the Nationals, but they would have needed him to play third.
And I think there was a 2-year offer, too. There was like 2-year 30 that he turned down. I could be misremembering, but...
yeah, some teams could have gotten funky with some options. I remember there being stories of offers out there, Nationals specifically named.
And the other one, as Uncle Jayson notes, he could talk about Kyle Tucker. He could talk about Kyle Schwarber, who is continuing to make himself money, or Pistol Pete Alonso, who's maybe the right answer. Framber just continues to do it. Ranger Suarez is back on his BS. A 1.99 ERA before the All-Star break. Him and Christopher Sanchez, the fact they're after pieces to Wheeler and sometimes Nola is just insane. It goes back to that super team conversation. I don't know what the Dodgers are going to look like come the postseason, but come the postseason, is the Dodgers-Phillies gap going to be that significant? I don't think so. There's just a ton of talent between those franchises right now. This is what won me over to talk about this article, because I saw a couple other things flown around. Trade deadline's so sexy. It's too sexy. Saw Eno Saris with an article. Yum. America's GM, Jim Bowden. Oh, baby. This is what put me over the top, which may surprise you. Did you know that baseball is on pace for its most shutouts in a season? And when I say most shutouts in a season, I mentioned the different eras of baseball before. Baseball is on pace for 365 shutouts this year. I think he just said we're on a 25-day streak of shutouts, which what the hell is that, baseball? Yes. The last 15 days in a row, 25 of the last 27, excuse me. Okay. The current record is 359. When was that set? 1915. That's a couple years after the Titanic. Is that 1912? This is Red Sox Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth's still in the Red Sox.
This is Red Sox Babe Ruth. What year was the Titanic? In my head, it's 12 or 14. I'm combining them.
12.
Okay. So 3 years. So we're recovering from the Titanic. But Babe Ruth is a Red Sox. A couple other things haven't happened yet, like anything. The Great Depression. There was 359 shutouts in 1915, known as the dead ball era. Which, by the way, there's been some talks about dead balls this year.
A lot of ball talks.
Interesting thing in the conversation. The full season record, so in the live ball era, so 1920. God, I love when these short kings cook, because I don't think I'm going to reference stuff like this when I get older. But man, we are in it. 357 in 1972. And by the way, 1972 and 1968 are two of the most famous year of the pitcher seasons in the quote-unquote modern history. So I honestly want to sink my teeth in more. He talks to some execs, and they say basically, hey, pitching's so crazy now with the velocity and how hard these guys throw. It checks out. I wish I could tie in situational baseball right now, but I can't, because it's more so that the pitching makes it really hard to even have a lot of situational at-bats. I don't know. Have my interest piqued by this. There's been some talks about high laces on balls, and that's been tougher. Obviously, pitching has improved. But this is kind of shocking, and it checks out, man. As someone who ends up in the box scores regularly, there's a ton of shut. In the past 2 weeks, the Pirates got shut out every game this past series. The Cardinals got shut out every game the series before that. Like, I don't want to say there's something else in play. I just have my antennas out for a little more information, because most shutouts in a season, yet we're still seeing historic hitting from Judge and Cal and Show. I don't know. It doesn't all check out to me. Number 10, a very old headway to end it. If the NL Cy Young wins 8 games, is that okay? Hey, I'll say this, and we don't have a DraftKings read on this episode. If you're looking to get some skin in the game, Skeens is a big favorite to win the NL Cy Young. His numbers aren't that far off from Wheeler. And then the perennial third place, Logan Webb, is awesome this year. That if you're looking for big odds, if you want to flex the ticket on October 14th or whenever they announce it, Wheeler would still get you decent points amongst the fellas or ladies. Ladies can bet too. I know a couple. Anyways, Logan Webb at this point is like a crazy number for how good he is. The fact he's going to be third. Is that what you went digging for, Beebs, or are you digging elsewhere?
I was digging for it because selfishly, I believe I placed a preseason Logan Webb bet.
Oh.
That might be a cash-out opportunity on.
How the turntables. Yeah, Skeens is negative, the heavy favorite, and might only win 8 games. And he's not like Wheeler's striking out more guys. And 1 year it feels like Wheeler is going to have to be in it. Hell, I might get in there now and place a little Zach Attack Wheeler. That'd be pitcher props. Strikeouts thrown today. I don't need that. I guess where our guy Jayson Stark went to was much more of just the old school, like, not do wins matter, but should they matter? And basically they just say how it's an old stat. It doesn't mean what it used to. And they're kind of right. They're kind of right. He can go out and do his own thing the best to his ability, and the lineup and team behind him cannot. So, with that, a little article from Uncle Jayson get us through, a little round the horn to get us started as we leak towards the All-Star break. We'll see you guys Wednesday. We'll have an ep there. And then we might have a funky week with All-Star, juggling a few things, so we'll figure that out. We'll let you guys know. It could be a one-ep week. Maybe there's a late ep. We will see. We love you guys. Go Sports. Boom.